salutations. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamming. I am your brother, the Rastafari, Ital Aymanai. In the early 80s, it was first I encountered reggae music, the band New Breed, Old Job. And first time I also encountered the Rastafari movement. It was at Club Applejack's, Jacksonville, Florida. I was a student of the World Community of Al-Islam in the West, among studying world poetry under Yitzhak Ben Velvet, a descendant of the Jewish Kohanim, i.e. priesthood. Ben Velvet was a 1968 United States Olympiad poet at the Mexico Games, author of The Hill Way Home, and translator of numerous haiku works of the great masters. While at Club Applejack's, a member of New Breed band asked me to meet them at halftime in the apartments behind the club. Upon entering, it was as if I knew what they were saying. Everything was on the one. I knew what they were saying without them speaking. It was telepathic. I sat, and a man I did not know had a drawing with the Star of David and a herd plant drawn in the center, and asked me had I ever seen Star of David before. As he extended the work before me, I said no, I had never seen the star before. Matter of fact, this was my first time hearing reggae music. When I saw the drawing, something happened. I knew I was a part of something big. My mission has started. I had earlier, via automatic response, or what's called automatic suggestion, reached up on the bookshelf at the Hayden Burns Library, Jacksonville, Florida, came down with this book called The Light of Egypt by Thomas Burgoni. This book also did something to me. The Light of Egypt. It was an old private donated copy. It was this book and the Star of David, after hearing of Stevie Wonder would be in the nation's capital doing his thing to get the Martin Luther King birthday as a national holiday, get that bill passed. So I was still in broadcast school writing a booklet called The Concert for Peace, the Zion Prophecy. My desire while at broadcast school was to become a major poet. This was to be a concert of peace, not knowing yet this would one day become the Holy Book of Wonder. I had a scheme, so I asked the Imam of the Masjid where I was studying for train fare, and I would travel to D.C. being a student from Broadcast College, a man who introduced me to the world community of Al-Islam, Miguel Johnson. So the Imam agreed, gave us bus fare. We went to Washington, D.C. Ironically, the first person I saw at the press gate was Wallace Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, founder of the Nation of Islam. I relayed the message to Wallace Muhammad, shook his hand, whispered into his ear, told him about my endeavor to get Stevie Wonder, etc. And he said that I was most likely to get to him than he would. So, to make a long story short, nothing turned out to be as I thought it would be. It took me about 10 years later to learn the book I had got named The Light of Egypt. It took me about 10 years later to learn that The Light of Egypt was Sirius, the Egyptian dog star, the enigmatic star of Egypt. It was vibrations from that star that led me to D.C. And that night, Dick Gregory said, that same star that the wise men followed to the manger of the baby Jesus was over D.C. that night. Something happened, something esoterically happened. And that was the beginning of this journey of the Master Blaster jamming. On January 15, 1981, Stevie Wonder led a Rally for Peace press conference in the United Press Building in Washington, D.C. to get the Martin Luther King birthday as a national holiday. 4 months later, on May 11, 1981, Bob Marley had died. The movement went to another level. Hotter Than July is an album by Stevie Wonder, originally released on Motown's Tamla label on September 29, 1980. The album Hotter Than July was a multi-level and purpose. There's a song, Happy Birthday, a overt tribute to Martin Luther King, note King. This song is in a reggae rhythm, making it a covert tribute to Haile Selassie, the King, and Rastafari movement. To prove this, the album, released a year before the death of Bob Marley, was the tribute song Master Blaster Jammin', which was a code song of a movement which started at the death of the prophet Bob Marley. Note that the finding was reported on June 19, 1982 edition of the New York Times. It says, something out there beyond the furthest reaches of the known solar system is tugging at Uranus and Neptune. A gravitational force keeps perturbing the two giant planets, causing irregularities in their orbits. The force suggests a presence far away and unseen, a large object, the long-sought planet X. Astronomers are so certain that this planet exists. Now all this is happening at the same time we're doing this, starting the Master Blaster jamming. IROS, the powerful infrared telescope of NASA, found it. You're now in tune on the One, the Force itself. At this time we call it the Master Blaster jamming. We ask you to hold tight. We'll come back with part 2 in the beginning.